Back with you on Hittin Hard with Jon Chuckery here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. Head to youtube.com, put Locked On Sports Atlanta into your search browser. When you find the page, hit that subscribe button, leave us a comment if you would. We're also available on all of your favorite podcast platforms, including Spotify and Odyssey. Download us today, leave us a 5-star review, and of course, give me a follow on my personal Twitter page at JMCH316. Well, Braves are officially in the All-Star break mode right now. We'll see Ronald Acuna in the home run derby. We talked about that last week. I do think it's a good thing, although I know Ronnie's been struggling here of late, and believe it or not, he's down to 265, but he's still got a 365 base percentage, still having a 776 OPS on the season. Look, am I worried about Ronald Acuna's slide that he's on? Not really. He still brings a lot of other things to the table. Look, got 20 stolen bases already on the season. He's got a 363 on base percentage. He scored 38 runs in 59 games. So he's going to be back for the whole second half of the season. He is going to be one of the big keys, though, to what the Braves do in the second half. They do need to get him cranked up and going. But the idea that I'm worried about Ronald Acuna Jr., who's one of the true stars in Major League Baseball, not worried about him at all. Every guy in a 162-game season is going to go through some slumps. Remember how bad Freddie Freeman was basically the first month and a half of the season last year. And then, not coincidentally, when he got things cranked up and going, that's when the Braves turned things around and started winning. Go look at his numbers before they really started to get on a winning streak and after, when they were in their winning streak starting last year. Freddie Freeman was kind of that trigger that flipped all that. So, look, guys go through stretches and stuff like that. But if you told me that Ronald Acuna, coming back from a major injury and all the little nicks and dings and different things like that, still have in 59 games, 38 runs, 8 homers, 20 steals, and a 363 on base percentage, I'm fine with all. Did he get cranked up and going? Yes, obviously he does. Now, Michael Harris, another guy, too. What an unbelievable start. 2-3 with a 319 on base percentage. I know that he was hitting 300 here just a couple of weeks ago or what have you. He's been on a little bit of a slide as well. But still, the from Michael Harris have been just incredibly invaluable. You know, you think about the fact of the 10 stolen bases and the fact that he scored 30 runs in just 48 games. So think about getting on base and setting the table for Ronnie and Dansby and things like that. Now, I'll tell you what's interesting is getting into the discussion about who's been the Braves' most valuable player this quote-unquote first half of the season. Is it Riley? Is it Davey? I probably right now, with where they are in the season, I know it's not 81 game split at this point. He was already in the 90-plus game range, right? They're already at 94 games. I probably put, you look at his numbers, 55 runs scored, 22 doubles, 27 homers, 60. He's got the average up to 285 right now with a 348 on base. So he's certainly brought all of those numbers up right now. He's getting a little bit more in line with what last year. But the combination of his run producing, his defense, by the way, too. I mean, obviously right now, that Braves infield defense has been outstanding in a lot of ways. But his defense that he brings, the power that he brings. I know Dansby has been kind of the sentimental favorite of all this, but I think Riley's really kind of been their linchpin as far as being that consistent run producer. And yes, he, like many of the Braves offensive players, have had their struggles this year. But you look at a month or so, 6 weeks really for Austin Riley, his power numbers have come along. And I think just in general, that's one of the things that for the Braves, both their hitting with runners in scoring position and just their overall power numbers. Because Olsen numbers now, Riley's 27. I think the second total ever for a Brave going into the All-Star. Dansby, 15 homer guy. Right? Duvall's got 12 homers. O's got 17. Even William Contreras, who's been one of the other great surprises, has 11 homers right now. So, all it's good news for the Atlanta Braves. We'll get ready for the half and talk more about that in just a second. Want to talk to you about my friends over at Built Bar. Love these folks. Such great folks to be partnered up with here. Many of you tried that coconut brownie chunk, right? That probably are familiar with the coconut brownie bar. Well, guess what they've done? They've now taken that and they've put it in the puff treatment. So we've talked about the puffs before on the show, but now you can get the coconut brownie chunk Built Bar in a great flavor, but in that chewy marshmallow the first protein-infused marshmallow. Okay, and listen, I love these things. I mean, they've sent us some samples. Love trying these new flavors out there. Again, they've had birthday cake. They've got this this coconut brownie chunk puff now that's out there. One of the things about Built Bar, they're made with collagen protein, which is more absorbed into your body efficiently. Tons of health benefits. Tastes great. Easy to eat. I mean, just can't ask for anything. Built Bar marshmallow puffs are kind of crazy when you think about when you see them and try them. Trust me, you'll know exactly what I mean out there. But listen, we got a deal going on right now for you guys that are Locked On Sports Atlanta listeners. If you go to built.com, use the promo code LOCKED15, get 15% off whatever order together at built.com. Locked15, LOCKED 15% of off your order. Use that promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off. Go to built.com right now. Check out their wide line of Built Bar products, marshmallow puffs, all kinds of things available to you. Built.com, locked on 15 to get 15% off out of all of it. As far as the pitching staff goes, the fact that the Braves have 2 10-game winners at this point, it's the first time in over a decade that they've had 2 guys that are at the win mark. Certainly, Kyle Wright has been one outstanding stories. I think Spencer as additions to the pitching staff. Okay, the Braves probably don't need to go out and invest a lot in another starter. Right? We don't have to worry too much about getting in the starter business. Now, Fried's been outstanding. Wright's been consistent all year long. Strider's another piece. It's really more a matter of getting Anderson to feel like he's as consistent as he can be. But you think about the fact that even with Anderson's 7.9 ERA, which is the highest starters, he's still 8-5 on the season. If there's anything about Ian Anderson I like to a bit more of is a little bit more of that swing and miss stuff. Right? I mean, that's baseball today. That was Charlie Morton's been on in the season about why it wasn't kind of coming together. Morton wasn't as consistent and things like that. Want to see more of that swing and miss stuff out of Morton. And if you look at his numbers in the last month or so, he's really gotten back into that double-digit strikeout per 9 inning type of number that we've become more affiliated and accustomed to seeing out of a guy like Charlie Morton. In fact, Morton is now up over 10 strikeouts, 10.4 specifically strikeouts per 9 innings as we head in the break. So that number's come way up since the early part of the season. The only other thing about Anderson, too, besides the swing and miss stuff, is just monitoring the walks. I mean, that's been another thing that he's got 45 walks in 92 innings pitched. That's far and away the most that any Braves pitcher has. Let's put it this way. Fried has pitched 119 innings, so he's pitched 27 more innings than Ian Anderson, and he has 22 walks. He has less than half the walks in 20-some-odd innings more pitched. So Anderson's got to figure some things out, but I don't think it's enough to say, okay, he's got to be out of the rotation. Let's go find another starter. I think right now the only thing the Braves are really looking to add is probably another back-end bullpen piece. Now, we also got word, a few days ago, Kirby Yates is starting his rehab assignment and going to give it. So there's another guy that they invested in that is going to come back from injury that they'll get a shot to look at. Obviously, Matzik came back, several weeks ago. He's worked himself, in. McHugh's been terrific. Minter's had an all-star caliber type of season with a 1.83 ERA, averaging 12 straight innings. If you look at their bullpen between McHugh, Minter, Chavez, those are all over 10 strikeouts per 9 innings. So I don't think that there's much that the Braves need to look to add. They've added Cano, obviously, to give them some veteran help off the bench and give them a guy who can platoon with Arcia to play second base until Ozzie Albies is come back with all of this. So I think Braves are in really good shape, obviously. I don't think there's much that they need to add, but he's always looking for a bullpen arm. But whereas the Mets are looking to add more bats and especially maybe outfield bats and try to bring one more bopper in and things like that, I think the Braves have got this thing figured out. They need to just stay the course. I think the starters are fine. I think your bullpen is fine, other than maybe adding one more arm. Yeah, I know that there's guys, the Will Smiths of the world and things like that get the yips and all that kind of stuff. And by the way, too, and we may talk more about this later this week, Okay. I know Juan Soto turned down $440 million or whatever like that. I don't think the Braves are going after Juan Soto. First off, Juan Soto is not going to play for fish heads and rice, but we'll talk about that at a different time with all of it. So, look, again, the Braves right now, as we head to the All-Star break, 56-38. If you told me that would be their record at the All-Star break, I think we'd all take that. Again, the pathway of how they got there, I think, is the thing that we look at and say, this has been a strange and interesting path, but I think everything's on track. Again, their series against the Mets will be the determining factor. We get into August and they get a whole bunch of games against the Mets because they're running out of games against the Nationals and the Marlins and people like that. Now you're going to get a hold of the Mets and things. They can handle their business against that. The division will be fine. The Braves will have this thing wrapped up again for their, fifth straight division title. All right, when we come back, the Hawks have one full-time roster spot that is left. I'm going to throw out a name that maybe is a guy that you could bring here and fit in. We'll see what you all think. It's Hitting Hard with Jon Chuckery here on Locked On Sports Atlanta.